Alright, hello everyone and welcome to NFL Discussion. I'm your host and NFL enthusiast Dougie Doug. In today's episode I'm going to be discussing Sunday, week 1 of the 2023 NFL season. So with the redoing of the NFL Discussion series, the way the Sunday games are going to shake out is that right now the plan is, and this probably will be the plan for the rest of the season, is to simply pick 3 games from the Sunday slate and discuss those 3 games. So on tap for this episode we have Jaguars versus Colts. What else? We have Panthers versus Falcons and Chargers versus Dolphins, which was my favorite game on the Sunday slate. And with that, we'll go ahead and get right into the action, starting with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, last year, before the trade deadline, the Jaguars swung a trade for Calvin Ridley, who made his debut in a Jaguars uniform. Wasn't able to play last season due to a suspension, but in his debut, he made an impact, an immediate impact, and he creates a different dynamic for this offense. In his first game in the teal, black, and gold, he caught 8 passes for 101 yards and a touchdown, and his performance will play a significant role. His performance over the course of the season will play a significant role in the possibility of quarterback Trevor Lawrence reaching the status of elite. Immediate returns from last year's trade proved to be positive. Ridley is 3 years removed from his career season, where he had 1,374 receiving yards, and he didn't play it down last year after being suspended. But you couldn't tell that this was a guy who hadn't played a game, who hadn't played in a while. He didn't show any rust or looked out of place. Instead, the Jaguars seemingly have a new wide receiver 1, as Jacksonville continues to ascend as the AFC South's best squad. The Lawrence-Ridley connection will be a key part of that Jaguars offense and prove difficult to defend, along with all the other weapons that they have in offense. So Jacksonville, the way I see it, they are the favorites for the AFC South, and with the victory that they got week 1 over division rival, so far looks like nobody's challenging them for those just yet, or at the very least not the Colts. Speaking of which, promising debut from Anthony Richardson. While Sunday's contest against the Jaguars didn't end well, everything leading up to that point should be viewed as a positive for the Colts and Anthony Richardson. Certain narratives emerged regarding Richardson throughout the draft process. He's not accurate, he's not ready, he's a project. Well, this year's 4th overall draft pick completed 64.9% of his passes with a passing and rushing touchdown in his debut. Granted, he did throw an interception, and certainly not a good idea to stare down your intended target. And he also did get dinged shortly before the end of the contest. Learning how to slide is going to be a key part of his development. But Indianapolis proved to be fun and feisty and gave the reigning AFC South champs all they can handle, with Richardson leading the way. So don't expect the Colts to be playoff contenders, but this shows what the Colts need to accomplish this season, and that is just the potential of what this team could be. Show what this team can be. Might have lost this game, but it was a good show and a promising debut. Carolina Panthers. So Bryce Young, speaking of debuts, Bryce Young making his debut, and he got some assistance from the ground game, and this is going to be important, as that ground game not only can help Bryce Young, but it's going to need help. It's going to need to help Bryce Young. And it's not to say that he played bad, but it's always good when you can have a ground game, providing an assist for your rookie quarterback. So even in a sloppy 24-10 loss, the Panthers can take one major positive from this defeat, and that is Bryce Young is going to have to do everything on his own. He's not going to have to carry the offense on his shoulders. The Panthers outrushed the run-heavy Falcons thanks to a productive running back duo of Miles Sanders and Chua Hubbard. Young threw a couple of interceptions, but when he's unable to get anything going through the air, the Panthers have a ground game that they can lean on. Sanders, though, is going to have to clean up those fumbles. Can't leave the ball on the ground. He did only have one, but that's one too many. Atlanta Falcons pulled away from the Panthers in this game with a winning formula on offense and some defensive help. So among the NFL teams in the NFC that could sneak into the playoffs, the Falcons look like a good bet in what is a wide open NFC South. Despite the discussion around quarterback Desmond Ridder, the Falcons know their offensive identity. Every week they're capable of running the ball and wearing down opposing defenses, and Atlanta did just that against the Panthers. Rookie running back Bijan Robinson racked up 83 scrimmage yards and holding a touchdown pass, and Tyler Algier recorded 15 carries for 75 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ridder went 15 of 18 passing for 115 yards and a touchdown, but his performance is secondary to the ground game. His performance is secondary to the Falcons ground game. And on defense, Jesse Bates recorded a couple of interceptions, provided an immediate boost to a defense that tied for the 5th fewest takeaways last season. Miami Dolphins, they are high flying and they could be a significant problem in the AFC. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa hit the ground running, with the Dolphins quickly taking off and flying past the Chargers. Tua shredded the Chargers secondary, passing for 466 yards in a 36-34 victory. Those yards being the 4th most ever during the season opener, according to ESPN Stats and Info. The numbers are what they are, but what they don't tell is the story of Tua not being sacked throughout the entire contest, and the Chargers hitting the quarterback only 2 times. Considering Tua's injury history, those numbers are vitally important. Also vitally important, being able to lead a game-winning 75-yard drive with under 4 minutes to play. Tua's precision throughout the contest bordered on uncanny, and if opponents can't fluster the quarterback or be able to knock around Tua, he'll pick him apart by throwing to what might be the best wide receiver duo in the league with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Hill was unstoppable in this game, putting up 215 yards and 2 touchdowns, reminding why the Dolphins are a scary matchup when they can get going like this, when they are humming on offense, when they are humming on defense. I mean, give credit to the offense for their performance, but don't forget about the defense too. The Chargers had the ball last, and the Miami defense simply shut that offense down. And Chargers, Brandon Staley continues to come up short. So Chargers, they're a talented team. No argument there. They've hosted back-to-back winning seasons since Brandon Staley took over as head coach, and yet they continually fall short of expectations. You have Justin Herbert under center, and a roster of a lot of talented names like Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Rashard Slater, Joey Bosa, etc. And yet with that talent, the Chargers should find themselves among the elites in the AFC, and instead, they're pretty much in the mid-card, an average team falling short against top competition. The Chargers went 1-6 against teams with a winning record last season, and this year has started much better. Staley came to the organization as a defensive guru whose approach of light boxes and extra men in coverage became standard throughout the league, yet his defenses have finished among the top half of the league, and here in this game, his defense was exploited, which isn't something new when it comes to a Brandon Staley defense. Seems like that's a bad habit that Brandon Staley defenses find themselves in, that is getting exploited. Eventually, something must give, or the Chargers will find themselves in a position that they are overly familiar with, and that is just never realizing their potential despite the talented core that they have. And I'd even make the argument that this is a make or break year for Brandon Staley after the disappointment that was last year where they made the playoffs, had the lead over the Jaguars, and then lost. The OC got fired. They brought in Kellen Moore, but coordinator changes aren't going to be enough to save Staley this year. The Chargers, not only the Chargers have to do something, the Chargers have to be a winning team this season, make the playoffs. It's a make or break season for Brandon Staley, simply put, and if the Chargers don't perform, then he is out of there. And with that will conclude this episode of NFL Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button down below.